Hi, it's Terry from the Builderall team, and I'm back with another video in the Build a Website series. Today we're going to be talking all about website content. So here we are in the editor, and we have it open to our fruit shop website. We're going to come down here first, and we're going to move this footer down. So I'm just going to highlight the footer and bring it down. I'm going to move it fairly well down the page because I'd like to leave plenty of room for us to build a couple of banners here. So that should get us started, and we have plenty of room here in the body of our page to add our first banner, banner number 2. We'll come up here to the Add Elements, find our banner, and we're going to use the classic blue banner again. And the first thing we'll want to do is change the color to white. So let's right click and go to Appearance, Colors, and click on our background color and choose white. Choose OK and close out of that. So we have our first banner on the page. Let's bring it up with our arrow and have it meet snugly against that first banner. Now we want to add our image, I think. So we'll come over here to the plus, add element, find image. We'll add the top image to our page. We can close this now. And we'll pull this up here a little bit on our banner. Notice it's highlighted now, and we know it's on our banner. So we're going to right click, change image, and we're going to look for that image of the worker cutting cucumbers. So I'm going to find my fruit shop directory and look through my images here. I think this is it. So I'll click on it and get the blue check mark and confirm it. That puts our image into the middle of the banner. It looks a little large right now, so I think I'm going to grab this handle here and resize it down to, let's start right there for right now. We're going to move our image over here and place it about there. So next we'll add some text boxes because we want to add a title, we want to add the description box, and we have this paragraph going over here. So we'll go back to the original site and copy, I think, our title here that sits above this image. So we'll come right up here and we're going to copy the title over our image to our clipboard and return and put it in our banner. So now with my copied title on my clipboard, I'm going to come here to the Add Element. I'm going to choose a text box. Let's try the H3. Let's see how big the H3 is. That's the title, medium. So I'll click there. That might be a little too small, so I'll eliminate that text box. Let's try the H2, the title, large. That looks about right. I'll click out of that card. Let's move it over here. Now I'm going to insert my cursor and of course highlight all of the text and paste what I copied into that text box. And I think I remember the 10 professionals was on one line. Before I leave this text box, and I'm going to highlight our 10 professionals and make it bold. Remember that was bold. So now I can come out of that text box, adjust the size by pulling on that handle until my 10 professionals is on the top line, and that looks about right. So I'll move this over the image, put it right there on the guideline, move this down. This may be a little bit small now. How about like that? And that leaves room for our text box down here and our paragraph. It's looking pretty good so far. So here we are on the original site. We're going to grab this text right below the image and copy it to our clipboard. Let's come over here to the plus and add a text box. let's try the body medium. Close out of this. This is going below the image as a description, so we can use the smaller font style. So I'm going to select all the text and copy that text right into that text box. Now I can move it down here below our image and adjust the size of the text box just like that. So now we need to grab the other text that goes right next to this image. So let's grab this text, these 3 paragraphs, copy it to our clipboard, and return to our editor. So let's come up here and add another text box, and this time let's use, well, let's try the H4 title small. That might be too small. Let's try the H3 title medium. Bring the text box over here, and we're going to close this card. We can select our text, our dummy text, and now we're going to paste. And there's our paragraph. If we pull that in, it looks like it's just perfectly fitting into that area. We could, yes, it really is just perfectly fitting into our banner. I think we picked, here's the length of our banner, and now let's go ahead and move this up to the top there. One thing I do want to do is I want to justify this so it looks the way it did on the original. You know how it's squared off, and this edge, this right edge, is justified as well as the left, like the way you see in magazine articles or books. To do that, I'm going to select all of the text, and up here on your text editor, all the way here in the alignment area, we have a left alignment, center alignment, right justified. Well, this one that has the square sides on both sides, that will change the spacing between the words ever so slightly, and now we have our paragraphs nicely aligned right there on the page. So we also want to be mindful that we have about the same amount of space at the top and the bottom. I might make this just a little bit bigger, not much, and move this down. I'm going to snap it to that grid line and do the same with the image. Snap it to that grid line and move this down just a tiny. Now let's move our text down and snap it to this grid line over on the right hand side. And I want to keep the text about even this way. So I put a grid line in here, and I aligned my text box and this title card right up to that grid line. That lets me know how much space I actually have between the top of the content in this banner and the banner above it. I want to see if I can make the bottom edge about the same. So it needs to be a little shorter, I believe. So we're going to shorten that up just. That looks good. Now I'm going to align this and make sure this is close to the image. Now I'll remove this grid line, remove this grid line, remove the ruler, and let's look at this and preview it. Scroll down the page. That looks really good. So let's return to edit, and now we're going to be ready to move on to the next banner on the page. So let's save. Save is our friend. Save again. Let's take a look at the next banner on our Fruit Shop website to see what we're getting ready to build. Let's scroll down, and well, the first thing we see are these awesome rolling numbers. We also have an image as our background, the image of the fruit shop with our title, "We are awesome at our work." and the awesome is red, and this looks like it's bolded perhaps. And then we have a paragraph off to the right of that and some labels beneath these rolling numbers. So now that we know what it looks like and what we're going to be building, let's get back to our editor and get to work. Let's head to the plus sign, add a banner, choose our classic banner, close out of this, and let's move this down. Let's move our footer down some and make room. Bring that banner all the way down and then pull it up right to the bottom of the banner above it. Make sure our footer is in place. The first thing, let's change the blue background to the image background. So we're going to right click. We're going to click on Appearance. Let's go ahead and take our color out by clearing it, and then find our images, go to the Upload, find the Fruit Shop directory, and look for the image, and I think that's this image right here. Get the blue check mark and hit Confirm. Yes, that's the right image. So we can close this window right now. Let's see how big this image is. I think we want it probably right about there. That looks pretty good. The next step for recreating this banner, I think, we'll need to put that title with the big headline and the text on our banner. So let's go back to the original website and copy that title, bring it back here and install it on our banner. So we're going to copy this title. We are awesome at our work. And remember, the awesome is red. Copy it to the clipboard. And now let's go back to our page and put in our title for this banner. So we first need to come over here to the Add Elements, add a text box. Let's choose the large text. We can close that menu. Highlight our text by getting into the text box and then triple clicking. And we're going to paste our title right into the text box. Then continue to highlight it and turn the text color to white. We're going to stay in the text box, keep our cursor there, and we're going to highlight awesome and turn the word awesome to red and click OK. Beautiful. Now we can come up here, highlight our paragraph to the right of our title and copy it to the clipboard. Now let's go back to the editor. So let's come up here to the plus, add some text. Let's try the body large this time. Close out of that. I'm looking for our text box. I don't see it here, but remember we have a banner. Let's check and make sure it's not behind this banner. Sometimes that happens. So let's move it down. Yes, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to take this text box right now. Before I move it onto the banner, I think I'll go ahead and customize the text so we can read it. So I'm going to double click, get inside that text box, and then of course triple click. Select it all, paste my text into the box, and now I'm going to highlight the text again, and this text needs to be white. So I'll go ahead and change the text to white, click OK, and now here's our text box. Even though we can't read what it says, let's move it on top of the banner. Okay, we can put that right there. Now let's move this banner up a bit. So our banner is taking shape. Let's take a look at what we need to add next. Back here on our original banner, let's take a look at what we have left to put on our banner. We have the automated numbers and we have the labels below them. Let's grab this label, the satisfied client, copy it to our clipboard, and while we're here, let's take a look at these numbers. We have the 3 columns here, and 3 of these are number values and 1 is a percentage. So the only thing that we really have to do for our banner right now is to create these 4 columns. Each column will have the counter as well as a label. So let's get back and get started creating that. We'll come up here, add a text box. Let's choose the H3. Close this window. And then we can paste our text right into that text box, highlight it, and make it white. I think we're going to have to bold this text. Yes. So let's close the editor, and we can shrink this text field down a bit, say to about there. So we have one label on our banner. Now let's go up here and grab one of the animated counters. We're going to come up here, and we're going to look for our animated counters down here. Let's grab this top one here, and we have our animated counter on the page. Let's go ahead and customize this counter to look the way we want it to look. If we right click, go to Appearance, brings up our Edit the Element card. We know we want a transparent background. There's a transparent background, and there's a transparent background, and there's a transparent background. So let's grab one of those. So we select it, and then we can choose it, and then come over here to the gear, and we're going to edit that style. Here we have our font. Let's check it out. We can change the font, we can change the way it's justified, we can make it bold, we can make it italic, we can put a border around these, round borders, a shadow, and here's where we would change the color of the background and the colors of the text. Let's change this to a little bit bluer, and let's make the hover color the same. Click OK. We can close out of that, and now we have a counter number that looks pretty similar to the one I think on the website. We'll have to check it the next time we go back. Now let's talk about how we're going to make this so much easier than going through that process. We're going to come up here, choose a box, and let's choose this box right here, this top box on the right hand line. And you're going to notice, let me close this, that it has an invisible background and a border. So it's almost an invisible box. But let's bring this box down here, and let's make it a little more narrow. That size looks about right. And what we're going to do is we're going to put first we'll put our animated counter inside the box, just like that. And then we're going to center it. So we right click and choose Center Element. That centers it really nicely inside our box for us. Now let's take our satisfied clients and let's move it inside the box. And let's go ahead and make the box the text box as wide as the box. And let's center this text. So we're going to highlight the text and center it, close out of that. So we have our counter and our text box. As long as we have the counter and the text label inside this box, we can move this box anywhere on the page. You see that? And we can move it and the text and the counter move with it and stay aligned. So we can place that right there. Another great thing you can do with invisible boxes is you can duplicate the entire box and its contents. So I'm going to activate it. We make sure that the box is activated. Right click, duplicate. I can move this one over. Let's duplicate it again and again. So now we have all 4 boxes with counters and labels. And we know they're customized just alike. Now that I'm looking at our animated counters, I think they might be better if they were a little larger and a little bolder. So I'm going to come into this first one here, and I'm going to activate that element, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to bring up appearance. I'm going to come to that check mark settings, and let's choose the font, and let's increase the font size to, let's go about 60. And I'd like you to notice that it increased the font size on all of the counters. That's because all of these counters are the same style. If we had made them different styles, we could change the style on inside the boxes. But since they're all the same, they changed when I customized this first one. I'm also going to make this bold, so I'm going to click the bold. Yes, that stands out on the page much more and is much more what I'm looking for. So we can close out of this. Now what we can do is we can activate this first box, and make sure you're activating the box, not the text box or the animated counter, but the box, the blue border. Right click. You can check and make sure you're on the box element if you read the label card here, the label of the card here. But what we're going to do with this box now, we're going to change the appearance. We're going to come over here to the border color, and we're going to remove the border color by clicking the trash can. And you can see when we did that, all of the boxes lost their borders. So now we have 4 elements, 4 columns, all the same. All we need to do is customize the text in the animated counters and the labels below them, and then align them on the page. So let's go back to the original website, and let's get the numbers that we need to put in first. So let's take a look at our numbers here. Let's go up here and we'll copy this first one to the clipboard. 136 satisfied clients. Let's see if we can remember 162, 2350, and 100%. So let's head back to our editor and edit these numbers. Back here in the editor, we'll come up here to this first text box, the satisfied client. We'll highlight this very first animated counter element, right click, and go to text. Here's where we can edit what the text says, and that was 136, so we're going to put our cursor in there and put 136, and we're going to make sure it says numbers and confirm. Now, can you remember what the next one was? We're going to right click, go to text, choose numbers, and the second field should read 162, confirm, move to the next, right click, text. This is a numbers as well, so we'll put our 2350 and confirm. Over here on our last counter, we'll right click, go to text. This one was a percentage, and it read 100%. So let's confirm it, and now it reads 100%. So that is looking pretty close, except I think our numbers still need to be a little larger. So let's go ahead and change this. The right click, appearance, settings, font. Let's try 72 instead. I think that works well. So we'll close this. Now I think our labels need to be pulled down a bit. We'll want to pull those down. Let's pull them down to the bottom, just like that. Pull this one straight down to the bottom. Pull this one straight down to the bottom. pull this one straight down. Pretty good. Now let's add our ruler and add a grid line. How about right there? We can take this first box. Now we have to make sure we get just on the box. We move it over. We want just the box. So I'm going to come over here to this corner, see if I can grab just the box, put another grid line coming this way, and align it with our text. So I can grab the box and pull it over right up. Now let's take this box and line it up on this side, right next to that grid line. Align these. Let's remove our grid lines, check our spacing, go to preview mode. That spacing looks pretty good. The only thing I think we need to do is shorten it because we have way more space down here than we do up here. So let's return to edit, activate the banner, grab our little handle. That looks pretty even, I think. Let's check preview again. Yes, that looks pretty even. Return to edit. I want to activate the banner and make sure we're snugly against this one above it. Now we're going to save and save again. The only thing left really to do as far as editing the banner is changing our labels. We have 3 labels here we have to edit. But I also, when we go back to the original site to get those labels, I want to check this alignment here. It just looks a little off to me. Perhaps I need to move that over. So let's check that out when we take a look at the original banner and make sure we've got everything looking just the way we want it to look. So let's head that way now. Looking at the original banner here, I want to notice it looks like the 1 is lined up just about under the O in work, so I'll remember that. And the percentage is just about to the edge of the paragraph. Now we need to add our completed projects, hours of work, and satisfaction rate. So since this is going into a text box, I can copy this to my clipboard and I won't have to remember that. But now I have to remember hours of work and satisfaction rate. Can you help me do that? Let's come to this second column here. We're going to activate the label in this box and highlight satisfied clients and paste that first label. Of course, we're going to have to highlight it, turn it to white, and bold it. So there's our second label. Now over here, this was 2350 hours of work, I believe. So we're going to activate this, highlight the text, type in hours of work. Now let's come over to here to this label. We're going to highlight that text, and it's supposed to read satisfaction rate. Satisfaction rate. As far as the alignment goes, this alignment looks good, but this one's a little bit outside, so I'm going to bring it in just a bit. Now I want to make sure that I have my alignment here properly. I'm going to align this with the box next to it. Now I can align this one again in its new position. Let's make sure this spacing is good now. Maybe this one needs to come over just a bit. Once we get everything aligned properly, we can right-click out of that grid line. Check our top margin and our bottom margin. It still looks pretty good. Let's preview it one last time, and it looks spot on. Very well done. So let's save it one more time here and save again. We've learned a lot in this video. We've built 2 banners. We built and customized banner number 2. We learned and customized animated counters and built banner number 3, a beautiful banner. And we learned all about invisible boxes and how to use them to help align our pages and make our work easier. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot. And I'll see you in the next video as we move right on down the page and continue building our website.